What potential role could Christian Combs play in his father's criminal proceedings? The government has a tendency to pursue superseding indictments and to indict family members. Why is this the case? There is nothing more detrimental. Currently, Diddy is confined in a jail cell. What could be worse than that? The prospect of your son also being incarcerated. If we consider the possibility of additional charges and defendants, these are likely candidates. Furthermore, Christian has previously been involved in a civil lawsuit that included an allegation against him. In this indictment, the government presented evidence suggesting that Sean Combs was operating a criminal enterprise, which they referred to as the Combs Enterprise. The atmosphere in the Los Angeles courtroom became tense when the defense made a shocking claim that Christian Combs had hosted underage guests at those notorious parties. The mood shifted dramatically as Christian rose slowly, his complexion ashen, and retreated from the table without a word or glance at his attorneys. His departure was void of any farewell or explanation, resembling a scene of impending doom. This was not a casual exit. It was a clear indication of panic. Reporters were immediately drawn to the unfolding drama, pursuing the story with fervor. The gravity of the accusations was palpable. The moment the terms, minors, and yacht parties were uttered by the attorney, the entire narrative changed, rendering previous headlines insignificant. Christian was not merely safeguarding his reputation. He was actively working to prevent a potential scandal from escalating further. This situation transcended legal tactics and entered the realm of damage control. I was unaware of the specific raid mentioned, only familiar with the incidents in Los Angeles and Miami. It appears that the federal authorities released a video related to King Kong's remarks. Having spent 27 years in law enforcement, I have had the chance to observe Haida, a location where various agencies, including state authorities, federal agents, the NYPD, the Corrections Department, and state police, operate. This facility resembles half of a basketball court, filled with rows of computers and officers from various backgrounds engaged in online investigations. It is reasonable to assume that those handling the case reviewed the footage and reported it to their superiors. Furthermore, Christian's attorney presented transcripts from covert audio recordings, which were indeed actual tapes. These recordings, captured by a producer in an improvised yacht studio, featured a young woman named Grace O'Marquet, who claimed she was subjected to unwanted advances. Following several tequila shots, which she insisted were tampered with, the situation escalated. Grace was not an ordinary attendee. She was employed as a steward for what she believed would be a relaxed family outing on a yacht chartered by Sean Diddy Combs in late December 2022. However, she found herself amidst utter chaos, describing a scene of continuous wild partying, with guests frequently arriving and departing, and cocktails so potent that individuals were incapacitated after just one drink. Christian Combs, the second son of Sean Diddy Combs, faces allegations of misconduct against a crew member aboard a super yacht. The lawsuit was filed in Los Angeles. Attorneys for former yacht stewardess Grace Markey claim that she was harmed by Diddy's son, rapper Christian Combs, when she was 25 years old in December 2022. They assert that his father, Sean Combs, leased the yacht and had complete authority over its staff and operations. Markey's legal representatives argue that Combs transformed what was marketed as a wholesome family outing into a chaotic atmosphere. They stated, "Defendant Sean Combs cultivated and promoted an environment of excess. The atmosphere was consistently filled with suspected improper behavior, potentially tainted alcohol, violence, and blatant disrespect towards women and the yacht's crew." The lawsuit also includes photographs of bruises that Markey's attorneys claim she sustained when Christian Combs forcefully grabbed her. Additionally, they provided a transcript of an audio recording that allegedly captures Markey being forced to consume shots of tequila that were suspected of being laced. Grace asserts that Christian arrived at the yacht already intoxicated, pressured her into taking tequila shots, and then began to behave inappropriately. The ordeal did not end there. She claims she managed to fend him off and escape, but he continued to pursue her. Regarding Christian Combs, Markey notes that he had been residing at a villa along the shore. Yet on the evening of December 28, 2022, guests were invited to the yacht for a party. Christian reportedly arrived inebriated and attempted to persuade Omari to consume tequila shots, which she did. Allegations state that Christian further encouraged her to drink in the yacht's improvised studio. Omari claims that Christian made inappropriate physical contact. She confronted him, stating, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I will move my legs as I please. If I choose to do this, I will. You cannot touch my legs in that manner." Omari then informed Christian that she could not remain with him without supervisor approval. Knowing they would be asleep at that hour, which she used as an excuse to escape the situation, Christian responded, "Who can I talk to? I will say I requested you right now." In response, she asserted, "Well, you can remove your hand from my backside as a first step." He followed her to the yacht's movie room, which also served as a sleeping area, blocked the door, and approached her again. The situation only ceased when someone intervened. Following this incident, Omari experienced severe repercussions, including panic attacks, distressing thoughts, an eating disorder, and seizures. She supported her claims with photographs of bruises on her arm and disturbing audio recordings, all of which were submitted to the court when she filed a lawsuit against both Combs' men for harassment. The failure to ensure her safety is concerning. Therefore, I would like to introduce criminal defense attorney Mauricio Padilla, a valued guest on our program. He has represented numerous high-profile clients in significant legal cases. It is a pleasure to see you again. I believe we have not yet discussed this lawsuit, and with recent reports indicating that Christian has been served legal documents, I would like to understand its importance. This is noteworthy because any opportunity to remind the public of the alleged misconduct of Diddy and his son, particularly regarding inappropriate behavior and assault, serves to reinforce the government's narrative about their alleged wrongdoings. This strategy appears to be part of a broader effort to tarnish their reputations. I am not suggesting that they are entirely blameless. Rather, I believe this aligns with the ongoing actions of both the government and the attorneys pursuing the case. In the courtroom, Grace's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, wasted no time in presenting his case. He guided the jurors through audio evidence, detailing how the beverages were purportedly tainted with GHB and other potent substances. He then revealed a surprising development, suggesting that additional recordings exist, and he is prepared to vigorously advocate for their admission in court. Subsequently, he made a bold assertion regarding the Combs brothers, alleging that they have a history of involvement in these types of incidents. The allegations concerning so-called parties involving underage guests have prompted a swift response from Christian's attorney, Aaron Dyer, who vehemently denounced the lawsuit as vile and fraudulent, asserting his intention to file a motion for dismissal. However, the situation is complicated by the existence of supporting evidence. Marky Jones recorded the event in question, and the lawsuit includes transcripts of audio recordings that reportedly capture sounds of kissing, her request for Combs not to touch her, and her questions regarding potential drugging. Although these tapes have not yet been presented on Long Crime, if they are authentic, they represent a significant piece of evidence. It is important to note that in civil cases, the burden of proof is considerably lower than in criminal cases, requiring only a preponderance of the evidence to establish that the events likely occurred. In his comprehensive lawsuit, Lil Rod directly accused Justin Combs of introducing underage girls and inappropriate individuals to private events. One piece of evidence cited is a photograph allegedly depicting Justin with a young woman believed to be underage and associated with these activities. Lil Rod explicitly names Justin Combs in his extensive lawsuit, characterizing him as an individual who solicits inappropriate contacts. Furthermore, the lawsuit claims that at least one underage girl attended a listening party at Diddy's residence. It appears that a solicitation took place, leading to an unexpected incident. Notably, this incident coincides with the night when Lil Rod claims that Diddy forced him to consume a drug-laced drink. Subsequently, he experienced dizziness and later regained consciousness at 4 a.m., finding himself in an unfamiliar situation. It is significant to mention that Justin Combs is identified as a defendant in this case, as Lil Rod asserts that he played a role in facilitating Diddy's purported criminal enterprise and occasionally took part in his activities. In one specific allegation, Lil Rod recounts that a minor arrived at Diddy's residence for what was intended to be a music listening event, but an adult worker was also introduced, resulting in another chaotic incident. Furthermore, Lil Rod maintains that on that same evening, Diddy allegedly coerced him into consuming a shot that he suspects was tainted. He reports feeling disoriented, losing consciousness, and awakening at 4 a.m. next to a woman. Justin Combs is not merely mentioned. He is explicitly named as a defendant because, according to Lil Rod, he assisted in the operation of Diddy's alleged actions.